Hey, so I'm out in the rain filming this video because I really wanted to share this message with you. The good thing about being out in the rain is that there's not the sun kind of glaring in you guys' face like there was. Sometimes I do this walking video to like really craft my path so that the sun's not in your face. But I wanted to talk about, like what's a really misunderstood aspect that you need in order to grow your accounting business. So one thing that people, and this is something I just hear every time I talk to someone who's new in business, is they focus on things that are focused on themselves. They don't focus on things that are focused on the customer. So what I mean by that is a lot of times people spend like the first like three to 6 months like building a website, finding a business name, just different things like that, where it's like it's on the one hand it makes sense because that's what you just see every established business have, right? But the challenge is you don't know the time frame with which they actually establish those things. Now, unfortunately, there's not really a way you can go back in time and say, okay, so, first they did this, then they did this, and they did this. You can if you're like in like mentorship programs and stuff like that. But if you're just kind of like watching this stuff and you have no understanding of like what's actually going on, like what's happening, it is very, very, very challenging to actually, know why the person did at that time. But when you actually study a lot of successful business owners, they didn't really start with the branding aspects first. They started by going and getting clients right away. Oftentimes what happened was they were good at a skill set, people knew they were good at that skill set, and then people asked them to do that skill set. So they got their first set of initial clients before they ever even published that they had a business, right? And that is called the market first, market forward approach versus the market backwards approach. So market backwards is the one you want to do. That's when you go to the market and then you go and like get professional over time, because you're making your website based on people actually want. Like you're using the words on the website should match whatever your clients have been saying to you or saying they're needing. Your branding and business name should be based on like what are people actually calling you. Like, is there a specific phrase that keeps coming up, right? Is there a name people call you, like a nickname, whatever the case might be. But you take what the market is telling you and then you go backwards, right? It's just much more of an efficient path because there's no wasted energy. One thing that I hear a lot of people say, okay, and like don't take this if you're like a person that says this, any person that says like I don't have a lot of time to waste, they are wasting almost all their time. I almost can guarantee that. And like that's not being like mean. It's like I can always tell if someone is wasting their time based on how they actually think about time and think about their business. It's crazy. It's like people are like, I don't have time to waste. Like, well, how much time do you actually have to grow your business? I have like 3 or 4 hours a day. That's so much more than like most people actually have. Like most people have like maybe like an hour and a half per day they can do it. And it's almost like I've kind of noticed the more time someone has, oftentimes like the less they actually get done and the more they're focused on like busy tasks, like going on Canva and like making posts. Okay, so I'll even take a step back. On top of me saying like don't post to grow your accounting and bookkeeping business, which is like a pillar that I usually stand on, even for me, when I'm doing content, right, for my mentorship program, I'm only in Canva probably for about 5 minutes a day, if that. And the only reason I do that is just to like make my my thumbnails for these YouTube videos. Oh, it's raining a little bit harder now. Don't say I don't care about you. It's raining hard. But yeah, it's like you don't really actually need to be posting. You don't really need to be doing things outside of just like really going and directly going to clients. And I'll even give you a good example. I made a profile on like a website like Thumbtack, and literally I went on and within 4 days had my first client. I had no reviews on the platform. I had no website. My profile didn't even have a picture. There was like really nothing that should have suggested I should get a client. We had my first client in 4 days. I got my second client like 3 days after that. We got another client a week after that, right? So it's like we already had 3 clients, and we already had netted, what was that? It was about 3,000 for the first one. It was like a miniature cleanup. The guy wasn't very old. So 3,000 for that, $2,000 for a tax return. Then we had about a $4,000 cleanup for the third person on top of like their monthly work, right? So 3, 2, 3, 6 plus 2 is about $8,000. That took us about a week and a half to get there, right? And people talk about, getting to your first $10,000 in a month is so hard. It's just you're not doing the right things to go and get in front of the right people. You're not saying the right things when you're in front of them. Yes, now you could argue, Bryce, you have an unfair advantage. You know how to do sales. You teach people how to do sales. I can't do that. Okay. Maybe you can't get your first client in 4 days. Right? I'm not necessarily saying that. But what I am saying is that, give me one sec. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit loud. But what you can do is you can actually go and do the right stuff first, and then you can start going, first maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, be able to go and get your first client, right? Maybe a good rule of thumb for you would be to go and increase your monthly recurring revenue by between about $1,000 to about $1,500 per month. That's kind of the base level number that we encourage all of our students to go after and really go and like get, because it doesn't really take you that much effort to go and do about $1,000 a month worth of work, right? That'll probably take you between 5 to 10 hours, just about 5 to 10 hours just period to do that, right? So it's not really having to be hard. It's just you have to get good at the stuff that's important, right? That's marketing, that's building relationships, that is doing consultation calls to get people to actually say yes to you on the phone. And then third is just really understand like your pricing too, right? So if you can do those things, and if you can get good at those skill sets, you don't even need a website. You never even need a website. Like, it's funny. Someone asked, like, can I see your website? Okay, I mean, you could, but why do you even need to see the website? Like, is there a question that you have, or like, what's kind of going on? Oh, well, I just don't really know that much about you and blah, blah. Okay, and then all you do is reintroduce yourself, basically answer any questions about your background that they have. Now, if your background isn't super strong, you want to kind of avoid those, not avoid them, but you want to kind of like focus on the areas which you are strongest on and deflect away from areas where you are weaker on. So if you're not great at tax and you don't offer tax, don't talk about, I thought about doing taxes, but I wasn't very good at this, and I didn't want to do this, and I didn't want to do this, and I didn't want to do this. That's not helpful to your cause. Talk about why are you offering bookkeeping? Like, what do you actually like about bookkeeping? Why should they go with you for bookkeeping versus someone else? Is it speed? Is it fast? Like, what is the benefit of working with you? And that's your story that you can actually start telling. Okay. Hopefully, learn something new. I'm gonna get out of this ring. I'm starting to sniffle. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.